What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Justnutz, guys. Today I've got another deck profile for you. This time we're looking at World Chalice. This is a really cool deck and a really cool variant, I think, that I've actually put a lot of time into trying to get this list where I wanted it to be. I've been going through volumes of different cards, seeing what kind of cards work here. And honestly, I'm not even sure that I'm on like a final decided list 100%. So, of course, as always, leave your comments down below at the end of the video, definitely letting me know any possible ideas, any changes you think might work for the list, if you have any opinions there. Because I didn't really mess around with World Chalice too much before Lib came out, because Lib is like the card that kind of sparked my interest mainly in the deck. I'm not a huge combo player, so this is a variant I've made not to be a combo variant as well. It's important to keep in mind, because I know a lot of people who play World Chalice are used to like the combo build, so just keep in mind that's not really what I'm going for here. I'm trying to do something a little different, a more mid-range. You still do combos, just not quite as extensive / explosive as like the combo World Chalice, but still you have like a really strong grind game and you set up a really strong like board presence as well. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's just get started with the list here. Starting with the monsters, start with the World Chalice stuff. We've got 3 copies of Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. She is your Stratos. She adds herself back to hand by discarding a monster. She's very good. Unfortunately, she's not a play by herself, so you do need to see something with her, but she is still really good to see in the hand nonetheless. And we have 3 copies of World Legacy World Chalice. This card is incredibly important, mainly because it's like the main World Legacy card that you end up putting in the grave to get Lib possible to summon. Because if you don't know, Lib cannot be summoned if there is no World Legacy card in the graveyard. So you need to have one in grave before you attempt to summon her. And so he is really important for that, getting him off of Lee, of course. And he has incredible effects. I mean, he's a disruption on the field. He has the potential to just get you 2 free special summons from the deck, and then on the following turn he gets you a resource as a follow-up play as well. He just does it all. He's actually insane. One of the best cards in the deck, straight up. I also play 2 copies of World Chalice Guard Dragon. This is a nice extender / protection card. You search this out off of Lee. It protects your linked monsters when they're targeted by stuff, and then he can banish himself from grave to reborn a normal monster, which we play a decent amount of, or at least have ways to get to them. And then 2 copies of Chosen. I don't play Beckoned or whatever the level 2 one is. I can't remember its name. You need him. You do need to have normals for the World Chalice stuff. Sometimes you want to search him off of Lee, or we also have extenders that make use of him. But drawing the normal monsters is not bad. I know you look at these and any common sense person in Yu-Gi-Oh would think a normal monster is a brick. It's actually not at all in this deck, because our normal monsters get us to essentially a double summon. So that's why they're never like bricks. And then for like the extra engine cards, we got 3 Venus, Agent of Creation Venus, and the 3 Shine Balls. This is a very, very powerful set of cards here. Like I said, these are not even bricks, which makes this even more powerful. That's why you never see this played in decks, because this is too much of a brick. But in this deck, it's not. It's an additional normal summon. It's a special summon from hand. Like, it could be multiple things. And Venus is just a 1-card link 4. So I like it. The one thing I will say, though, if you do not see this with any possible way to get a World Legacy card engraved, it does make you be able to set up like disruptions, but you may not be able to like actually set up like follow up and board presence as much as like just raw disruption, like with Appaloosa and stuff. But still very good. And then for the extenders, the monster extenders, I play 2 copies of World Legacy World Crown. This card kind of works like a Crusadia. It can just special itself in defense position to a zone a link monster points to. And then if your opponent activates a monster from the extra deck's effect, you can tribute this to negate and destroy it. And then also, if this card was tribute summoned and is sent to the graveyard, you can, or I think it's if it's tributed after it was normal summoned, you get to add a World Legacy card. World Legacy Spell or Trap from deck to hand. That usually like never comes up. He's mainly just an extender to special from hand, and sometimes you leave him on board because you're like, why not? I guess it's almost like a Solemn Strike at that point. Just let them go into the extra deck and then pop in. Then 2 Crusadias. Keep in mind this is not supposed to be this. I would play 2 Reclusia if I could, just because Reclusia is like the best one generically. If it's not in regular Crusadia, it's just the best one going second, because it could be an extender or it can be a way to like bait stuff or start cracking through a board. You just special summon him to a zone and then pop himself in a card on your opponent's field. So he's nice, but he's mainly just an extender as well. So that's it for all like the engine monsters, the monsters that actually do stuff. For the rest of the monsters, though, we still play 2 Ash, 2 Ogre, and 2 DD Crow as hand traps. Like I said, I am playing a more mid-ranged version of this deck. Normally, you'd be playing just like extra extenders, but this is a more mid-range deck. We're not trying to just go crazy combo. We're trying to do mid-range combos and then have like the ancillary cards, these cards in the middle, helping support that. And then going second, this is better. These are nice to just like slow your opponent down. Pretty self-explanatory there, I think. Nothing too incredibly crazy there. And then we move to the spells. We've got 2 copies of World Legacy Succession. I have toyed with playing this at 3 just because every time you see it in your hand, essentially, it's like really good. And so, yeah. And this deck's just so easy, even with like Link 1s pointing down, it just like setting up arrows like super easy, like Almirage, Link Spider, so easy to set up. Monster Reborn, same thing, but just a little more versatile. You don't have to worry about setting up the zones, you just need to get something engraved, or you can steal something good your opponent has. 1 emergency teleport. You're chosen by the World Chalice. The normal monster we play is a level 3 psychic, so you can special him off of this. And we also play Ghost Ogre. So sometimes you have a hand where like the 1 extra body on board doesn't really do anything for you. So you're like, I'm just going to set this, and on my opponent's turn, if I need, I can just special Ogre. And if you don't know, Ogre is the only Ghost Girl hand trap that can actually trigger its effect by sending from field or hand to pop something, while the other ones have to be sent specifically from hand. So it does add a disruption. It's an 1800 body, so like it's not that easy to just beat over before having to like bait it out. So it's pretty nice. I like the versatility there. 1 upstart, just consistency, and then 3 Called by the Grave. This card's been iffy for me, honestly, and maybe it's just because in testing I haven't really been playing that many decks that play hand traps. So maybe if I played decks that play more hand traps, this card would seem much better. But I'm not entirely sure. There's definitely stuff like I said, I've been toying at playing this at 3 just because 1, it's a World Legacy card, so it does just, you could just like make a Link Spider, make an Almirage, whatever, use this to reborn the monster you linked off for it, and then right there you can already make a lib if you need to. So this is like really nice. There, maybe that the 3rd one would be worth, just to raise the consistency a little bit. Honestly, that doesn't come up that much, but that's usually when you brick. The bricks are when like you just can't even make lib because you can't get a World Legacy card engraved. And then for the traps, we play this card and this card. These are your World Legacy traps. This is the heart and soul of the deck right here. This with Lib is so bananas. This card essentially lets you like Masquerena, IP Masquerena on your opponent's turn. It just says as like a trap, quick effect. You get to link summon on your opponent's turn using monsters you control as material. So good because of Lib's effect when it's used as link material. For a link summon, it can shuffle any card into the deck that does not target. It's an insanely powerful removal and disruption, and so paired with this card, it's very nice. And then this card, a lot of people don't even know what this card is. Essentially, it's just an Omni Negate. You just have to have co-linked monsters, which sometimes you can't do in like really weaker hands, but a lot of times you'll be able to set up a co-link. So if you open this, you just want to see if you can just do the co-link and make lib. That way you can also lib for Awakens. That way you negate something, and then you use this to like finish off the rest of their turn and make sure they don't get to do that much. Yeah, and the last 2 traps I play is 2 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. I probably would have just played Impermanence over like DD Crow or something in this deck, except this card's really nice. It's a normal monster, so we can go into Imduk or Link Spider, depending on what the rest of your hand looks like, and it doesn't take your normal summon. A lot of the other ones take your normal summon, so you could literally make Imduk normal summon and then get an additional normal summon from Imduk, so it makes that like way better. Just doesn't take your normal summon and gets you a normal monster. So I like this, and I like this better than like Unexpected Die, because Unexpected Die is like only good turn 1. And this isn't that great after turn 1 either, but I guess it could be used, whereas Unexpected Die might not even be able to be used for like the rest of the duel, you know. So but that's it for the main deck. 40 cards even. Yeah, it's been working pretty well for me, honestly. Like, you have test hands that are like really good, and even your mediocre test hands are like, wow, when you have a mediocre hand, it's usually like you have a hand trap in hand, a mediocre board, and you ended like just lib and another monster with like obviously Awakens set, and that's like enough, because that can at least do lib into unicorn, so you get double shuffles and you have like a hand trap in hand, which is actually not that bad, because you might have, as long as you have follow-up, that's like not that bad. But for the extra deck, let's start with the Link ones. We have Link Spider, Almirage, and 2 Imduk. Imduk definitely comes up later in the duel, but usually these are just turn 1 starters. when you open Succession, mainly, these are the biggest ones. Link Spider is also important just to get certain stuff. It points down, so it opens up certain things. Like if you opened up the Crusadias or the World Legacy World Crown, they need an arrow pointing down, so sometimes the normal monster is better to go into this than this in those certain hands, but they're all good. Like, Imduk does so much, man. He really does so much because he's not only an additional normal summon for a World Chalice card, if you don't know, if he points up to something, if he points at a monster and he battles it, it destroys it before the damage step, so you just pop that monster immediately, which people sleep on 100% all the time. And if he's linked off, he can special summon a World Legacy monster from hand, or actually a World Chalice monster from hand, so it's also just a wild extender. Like, that's so much for just a Link 1 to do, I feel like. So those are your Link 1s. They're very, very important. One thing I wanted to note, Link Ross from Eternity Code. When that card comes out, you have to play it in this deck because it means your worst hands become way better. Like, way better. All you have to do is make lib, and you actually, like, really do stuff, like, even with those. But yeah, for the World Legacy / like World Chalice links, you have 2 lib. You need to play at least 2. 3 is debatable, but space is pretty tight in here. 1 Ib, 1 Oram, and 1 Ningirsu. So this is it for your Link 2s here. In testing, like, you obviously go into lib. You go into 1, maybe 2 lib, like, every single duel. It's actually wild. You go into this so much. It's crazy. It's insane. You have to get World Legacy cards engraved, though. That's the biggest thing in this deck, is you have to do that in almost every hand. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to win. Ib is nice because it has the sideways arrows, and co-linked it does protect lib, so if your opponent has some kind of removal, she can like pay herself instead of letting lib die, which is really nice. Just that protection, which is 1800, and kind of generic. Oram, the one knock I have on Oram is he takes 2 World Chalice monsters specifically, so that really hits his versatility in terms of like hands that you can make him where he would be nice. He's a nice beater. He can tribute a World Chalice monster he points to special a monster from grave, which is really nice, but doesn't actually come up that much. And he just and he has that same, like, when he's when he goes to the graveyard, he can special summon a World Legacy or World Chalice monster from hand. But like I said, he is one of the first chopping block cards I would have. I like him, but just because he takes 2 World Chalice monsters, he's not any kind of generic, so he kind of is hard to make a lot of the time. And then Ningirsu, this is just, other than Lib herself, non-targeting, shuffling anything back into the deck, he is your only other way of outing something that's like untargetable with disruption, and so he's pretty good. He's also 2,500 for a Link 3, which is pretty damn big as well. There, and then we move to the Nightmares. We just play the basics, 1, 2, 3. Cerberus is way better now than it was before, and its arrows come up for sure. Just because like people don't have to go to links. Not every deck needs to go through links to get to their extra deck. They can just start dropping synchros, fusions, exceeds. You can just pop those with this, which is really nice. Phoenix comes up with co-linking with Lib a lot of the time, just so she's indestructible by battle. So it's not even like your opponent can just try and put a Chungus on field and like bait out your Awakens in the by like baiting it in the battle phase. They can just, you eat a little bit of damage and you're like, I can't be killed, so cool. And then also just spell and trap removal. And then Unicorn. Unicorn is phenomenal in this deck. Your engine sets up like a Masquerena play where you link a Lib into this, so then you can do Lib Chainlink 1, this Chainlink 2. If they had a negate of a monster, they have to negate him and not Lib, which is ideal because Lib's removal is a little stronger, doesn't target. It's insane. That's like such a powerful like 1 disruption. Like 2 removals built into 1. Insane. And then some Link 4s. So Saryuja is another card with Oram that would be the first card on my chopping block. Like I said, I'm not playing the like combo version, so you really don't ever really want to go into this. There are some hands where like, I guess if you just open like Venus and no other way to put a monster on board, you just have those 4 monsters, I guess you try to make this if you can, just to get the draw for it. Hopefully you draw into some extenders to be able to play from there, but like 1 hand trap and like you lose. I'd rather just be making Appaloosa with 3 and trying to like at least halt my opponent for a little bit. It's probably the better way. Avermax just so good. Like if you have a Lib and a Link 2 and you Awakens, sometimes you don't want to go Unicorn, you want to go just into him, because you know after the 1 removal, your opponent's not going to be able to out him. He's such a pain to out. And then this is supposed to be Appaloosa. I just don't have one, but I have the perfect card as a proxy. Copycat, love it. Yeah, it's just really expensive. I don't have it yet. Hopefully it ends up in the Megatins. so we can get it later this year or something, or I don't know, maybe I'll find my way into one. But yeah, that's it for the Link 4s, and that's it for the list, guys. That's my take on World Legacy, or World Chalice, I guess. The deck's been working really well, honestly. Like, I haven't been breaking that much, and when you do break, so the way Link Cross is like really nice. So if you don't know what Link Cross is, it's the Link 1 and Attorney code. It can take any Link 2 or higher monster. On summon, it special summons tokens up to the Link rating of the monster used for its summon, but you cannot Link summon for the rest of the turn. And yeah, so what that means is that, like, if you had a hand where, like, you could make a lib by putting 2 monsters on the board with a World Legacy engraved, but you literally could not put a single other monster on the field, it means that's fine, because you just make lib, she gets Awakens, and Awakens still links lib off into Link Cross, and you get 2 tokens. So you still go into 3 bodies with a shuffle any card back into the deck. So that actually is better than people think it is, especially if you pair that, like, especially because usually if you have a hand like that where you can only put 2 monsters on the board, it's because, like, the rest of your hand is like hand traps and Called by the Grave. Well, you set Called by the Grave, that's just another disruption. You have Ash, Ogre, Crow in hand, those are just extra disruptions. Like, fine. Like, then you pair that with this one disruption with Link Cross, and you're actually, like, in a pretty good spot, in my opinion. So that's pretty cool. I really, really like that play. I would almost consider playing 2 Link Cross, but I don't know. I'd have to definitely figure out space and kind of streamlining the extra deck, and probably the main to an extent as well. But yeah. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Of course, if you want to see more deck profiles from me in the future, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe for more deck profiles, and let me know your thoughts on this. I literally looked for hours online trying to find any sort of, like, help in a version like this for World Chalice, but there's literally nothing. It's all crazy super combo, and I like this version a lot better. I think this version is a lot more fun to play. I'm not a big combo player, so that just doesn't appeal to me, so I wanted to make a version that I believe in and I think could be fun for you guys too. So like I said, let me know your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.